It's all about that mindset, y'all, not about the crystals, not about the tarot. It's about the inside. And that is the hardest thing to reconcile. Listen in for today's episode of Expedition to Soul, where we're going to talk about more. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and mindset is one of my favorite topics. And I think it's a topic that is talked about, broadly, it seems to me in the world that I live in anyway, the sphere, the circle that I hang out in, mindset is always top of mind for people. And I truly, truly, truly believe that it is our energy and our mindset around our energy and how much like what we believe is possible for ourselves that creates what we do in our lives. And I mean this from a metaphysical and like manifesting standpoint, but also just practical. If you don't believe it's possible for you to do something, you're just not going to do it. So we want to look at, our mindset and our perception of situations that are occurring around us and within us. So today's episode, this is one of our weekly sort of throwbacks that we've been pulling out of the archives. And you're going to hear today about this mindset topic and also a little bit about the suit of swords in tarot. What I love about the suit of swords in tarot is that it's really about your perception of a situation. So the suit is depicted, you're going to hear about this in the episode. So I don't know why I'm telling you it right now, but the suit of swords, it looks like this tragic story when you lay out all the cards and look at it. But it's a reminder that the tragic story is created in your mind, not necessarily related to what's happening around you. And while what's happening around you may feel very tragic and like a tragic story, how we think about it and what our mindset is around it, that's where the key to something different and different story lies. All right. So sit back because you're going to hear about mindset. You're going to hear about tarot. It's a good one. Enjoy this episode.
And today we are talking about your magical mindset. Now, this is one of these topics. I feel like it's a personal development topic that everybody talks about. There's like 100 books on it, 100 classes. I feel like it's kind of over discussed. But I think that us as witchy people, witches, those interested in witchery, whatever you want to call yourself or say about you and your practice, I think that it is important in a way that maybe we don't always acknowledge. I think that often, and I see this a lot in our inbox, in our email, Facebook and Instagram messages, people looking for the crystal to solve the problem, people looking for the candle to solve the problem, the herb to solve the problem. And those are all amplifiers. They're all going to help us to go where we want to go, or they're going to help us to maintain focus on what it is that we want to do. They're going to align our energy in certain ways. But at the end of the day, if our head and our thoughts aren't in the right place, whatever magic we're trying to make will simply fail, or it will be short term. It will be fleeting. And so I think as folks who are interested in witchery, we really do need to think about the thoughts that we are using. And I also take a little bit of issue with this idea of mindset because it is a challenging subject. And I never want anybody to feel like that you just can't do it or you're not doing it right. Or if only you could get your mindset right, then you'll be a millionaire, or then you're going to have the love of your life, because that's also not the case. We all have lessons to learn, and no matter what we do, things creep up from our shadow selves. So I think that we need to know our shadow. We need to know why it is we think what we think. We need to know how we got where we are. And then from there, we can start working on the different mental and thought shifts that are going to change our future and help us to make magic, do spells, write rituals that get us to where we want to go. Now, if you're a tarot person, and when we get to the divination unit, if you haven't already experienced that, you're going to learn more about the suit of swords. And the suit of swords in tarot is just that. It's about thought. When you walk through the suit of swords, it doesn't start off that bad. There's an opportunity. There is decisions to be made if you can only, see through those decisions. And then it starts to shift. And what we see here is that it's our thoughts that shift for us. Once we reach a moment of conflict, whether that's internal conflict or external conflict, that's when we see the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, the 10 of Swords. The 9 of Swords and 10, if you're not familiar with tarot, the 9 of Swords, it's the nightmare card. So it's a person with their head in their hands and like a monster with swords teeth kind of looking over them. And the 10 of Swords is a person flat on their stomach with 10 swords in their back bleeding out. So obviously that does not sound good. But the idea with the sword suit is that we are the ones who are thinking our nightmares into existence. We are the ones who are thinking our failures and our losses and this idea of being stabbed in the back into existence. And none of this is to say that things really aren't happening that are creating this for us. Somebody may literally kind of or figuratively stab you in the back with how they treat you. There may be an external nightmare that just you have apparently no control over and it's kind of happening to you. These things may all be true. And it's when we are looking at the external that we can't control, though, and we're trying to write a spell to banish or repel or change a situation, or write a crystal grid to, make somebody leave us alone, or create a crystal grid for somebody to leave us alone. That is when we're focusing on that external, and really we need to focus on the internal. And we need to think about, well, how can I focus on more peace for myself? How can I focus on the love for myself, the strength that I have, my inner knowing? How can I focus on rising above this? How can I focus on what I am abundant in, not what I'm lacking in? When we look at writing spells and rituals or releasing and manifesting, all of these things we do with the moon phases, any magic that we create, when we think about our thoughts going into it first, and then this goes back to our last lesson from the last unit on us being an energy grid, what are we carrying with us? Then we're going to make successful magic. And then the spells that we write are going to be successful. So thinking about your magical mindset, I do feel a little bit like wah, wah, wah. It's more mindset work, but it is so, so, so important. It ties back directly to the shadow work that we did. Once we roll around to the chakra unit, it's going to tie into there. Because your magical mindset is the foundation in which all of your magic is made. It is so, 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 so important. And knowing that we have control over what we're thinking. That's the one thing we can control is our thoughts. It's the only thing we have a choice over is how are we considering the situation that's being presented to us. And again, it's one of these things that's very easy to say, well, think in abundance, think about, what you're grateful for. And the practice of doing those things is more difficult when we're faced with our day-to-day lives, which is why it's so important to bewitch your everyday with a magical mindset practice and start asking yourself, okay, so how can I rewrite this story? How can I start layering all of this information on? So in the beginning of this, we looked at our magical books and our magical tools, and we kind of gathered our things. We learned about grounding and centering and being here in this present moment and creating this safety bubble of energy around us. Then we looked at creating our home spaces, our energy grids. Now we have the tools, we have the grounding. Now we're layering on our home spaces energy. We're layering on us as energy. So our home space is an altar, us as an energy grid. We've layered that on. And now we've really created the space. We've created the magical workings around us. So now it's up to us and our thinking to direct that somewhere. So how is our thinking directing the magic that we're making? And over this whole experience in Bewitch Your Everyday, what we're really learning is the foundations of spell work. We're learning the foundations of ritual and ceremony and how these different pieces come together and how we can live them in our everyday to move us forward. So instead of doing this one spell and then walking away and forgetting all about it, we're learning how to bewitch our everyday by living magic, living as witches, and living in this space that creates more of what we want and less of what we don't want. But we need to get our mind straight on that first.
Thank you for listening in. I hope you took something away from this. If you love hearing about tarot, we've had tarot episodes a couple weeks in a row now. Go back through the Expedition to Soul podcast episodes. We've got tons of episodes about tarot, and more than just learning tarot. It's really ways to do journaling with tarot and consider your life with tarot and where you are and how you're thinking about the world around you, which I think using tarot in this very like inquisitive sort of growthy way is more powerful than trying to get an answer to a question, in my opinion. So check out the different episodes we have on tarot, a couple even on the Suit of Swords if you want to dive further into that. Just search it. You can go to our blog and search it, YouTube, or our Expedition to Soul podcast feed. Help us get to 800,000 and beyond, 1,000,000 downloads by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing the podcast with somebody who you think would love to listen to it. That would mean the world to us as a small business. I can't even tell you how much that would mean to us, sharing it out there with somebody who you think would benefit from what we're talking about here at the Sisters Enchanted. And if you want to do more mindset work, we've got a free 5-day journal class coming up. We'll put the link in all the link places for you to check that out. We open the Facebook group. It's going to be on Facebook. We open that group in less than a week. So get yourself registered so that you can go ahead and ask to join the group and you're ready to go. When we hit go on the group and accept everybody in, you'll be in on day one. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging with us or hanging with me. Who's us? Me. Thanks for hanging with me. And until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. There are new episodes every Tuesday and astro forecasts for the week ahead every Friday. If there's any topics you'd want to hear, anything you want us to dive deeper into, shoot us an email at magic@thesistersenchanted.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.